We are in the brand new 2025 Mazda 3 Sedan, courtesy of Hanover Mazda in Hanover, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So I am in this one today. I like this one today because all-wheel drive is available to start. You can't say that for everything in this class. Known to be a very fun car to drive as well. Also known for excellent reliability. Just check out a Consumer Reports magazine for that. And in case you were curious, the Mazda 3 Sedan is going to be competing with the Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, Hyundai Elantra, just to name a few. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2025 Mazda 3 Sedan. You got the base model starting at $24,150, which actually is $20 less than the 2024 model year, so you never see that. Select Sport for $24,890, Preferred for $26,540, Carbon Edition for $29,610, Carbon Turbo, which is the one we are in today, starting at $32,300, and lastly the Turbo Premium Plus going for $36,000 even. And so those last three trim levels come standard with all-wheel drive. The first three trim levels that I've rambled off there, they come standard with front-wheel drive, in case you were curious. So as you can imagine, with all of those different trim levels, there are two different power plants for the Mazda 3 Sedan. First one belonging to the non-turbo trim levels, of course. That one is powered by a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated inline four-cylinder, putting out 191 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 186 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 4,000 RPM. That power being sent to front wheels or all wheels through a 6-speed automatic. 0 to 60 time for that one, approximately 7 seconds flat. Redline 6,500 RPM with MPG numbers coming in at 28 in the city, 37 on the highway, taking regular unleaded fuel. But so then there is that other engine configuration, of course, belonging to the turbo trim levels, and the one that we have with us here today. That one is a 2.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder, putting out 250 horsepower on premium fuel, 227 on regular fuel, 320 pound-feet of torque, again on premium fuel, 310 for the regular fuel then. For this engine configuration, power is sent to all four wheels. All-wheel drive does come standard with this one. Power sent to the ground through a 6-speed automatic, 0 to 60 time, approximately 5.6 seconds. That's plenty respectable there. Redline 6,300 RPM, MPG numbers coming in at 23 in the city, 32 on the highway. Again, taking regular or premium unleaded fuel. Depends on what kind of power you're looking for, I suppose. But anyways, before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in the Mazda 3 Sedan, did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. There's a little toggle switch located just to the left of the shifter. It is a sport driving mode. It is singular, so let me emphasize that. And that's going to adjust things like the shift points and the throttle response. So now that I've got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find it straight away. Let's put the acceleration here to the test, and let's see how quickly we can get a new Mazda 3 Sedan here up to speed. All right, cool. Looks like we got our straightaway here in 3, 2, 1, go! There it is. That's plenty fine. You're not going to have any issues merging onto the highway there. There was a little bit of turbo lag, but that's to be expected with a turbocharged four-cylinder. So that's just how that works. But yeah, plenty of acceleration once you get higher up into the RPM. So definitely you'll get the job done there. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So as expected, four-wheel disc brakes do come standard. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at an insanely respectable 112 feet. And the reason I put it that way is because typically with compact cars, you find like 120 or 121, 122. That's the kind of number that you're looking for. Typically anything in the 1-teens is a sports sedan, so 112 feet, that's really, really good. So I love that. But anyways, as far as braking feel goes, let's go ahead and hit the brakes here. It's on the firm side of things, as expected. So absolutely no issues with the braking in the Mazda 3 Sedan. But now let's go ahead and touch on suspension and handling. Up front, you're going to get an independent McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, torsion beam rear axle. As far as ride quality goes, in our short little test drive here today, let me actually go ahead and drive this road real quick, because I know for a fact this is one of the bumpiest roads in Hanover here. So let's go ahead and test this out. It's actually not that bad. Like, I expected far worse, because I remember the Honda Civic right there, and it was nowhere near as comfortable of a ride as the Mazda 3 Sedan here. So I'll just say that. It's kind of reminiscent of the Corolla. So I would say the Mazda 3 Sedan and the Toyota Corolla, those are probably the go-tos if you favor ride quality. And actually the Mazda 3 Sedan is probably the perfect blend of both, because The next thing I want to mention is the steering feel and the handling in this thing, because it is incredible. Kind of reminds me of the Civic. So that's what the Civic is really good with, handling and the steering feel. And the Mazda 3 is just as good, if not better. Now, the Corolla has a very loosey-goosey steering feel, so there's not much emotion to that drive, but I would say this is the perfect balance between all of those three. So, but that is what Mazda is known for, after all. They are known for the playful drive. Everything feels like a Miata when you're driving whatever the Mazda is that you're driving. So even their SUVs feel absolutely incredible in terms of steering feel. So once again, well done, Mazda there. As far as cabin noise goes, we're going 45 miles per hour right now. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Through my road mic, it's pretty much like any compact car that you get. It's you get a little bit of road noise, but it's nothing that would bother me, and should probably bother you either, so you'll be perfectly fine there. Touching on rear visibility, because of the shape of this thing, you can see 100% perfectly fine out the back. If you're considering the Mazda 3 hatch versus the Mazda 3 sedan, this is going to be a big one when it comes to that visibility, because there's a little bit of blind spots with the hatchback, but that is completely eliminated with the sedan. So if that worries you, just go with the sedan, because there's plenty of visibility in this thing. Did want to also mention the rain sensing windshield wipers, believe it or not, do come standard in the Mazda 3 sedan, so that's something you don't always find on the competition. So whenever this thing detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers for you. So it's kind of like automatic headlights, just one less thing you got to worry about there. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Mazda 3 sedan. Alright, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Mazda 3 sedan, finished in Zircon Sand Metallic. Let me know what you think about this color in the comments. I think it looks friggin' awesome. It looks like nothing else. There's very few colors on the road like this, so I'm a big fan. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Mazda 3 sedan is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 3, indicating that this one is built and assembled in Mexico, believe it or not. Of course, with most of the parts coming from Japan, but it is actually built and assembled in Mexico. But let's go ahead and start up front on this one. Matte black front grille will come standard on the base. However, all other trim levels are going to come with a gloss black front grille. To the sides, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights do come standard. Get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams, meaning if you have your high beams on at night and it senses the vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. And when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. So you got to love that. And then with the Turbo Premium Plus trim level only, you also get adaptive front lighting. So essentially what that means is when you're going around a bend at night, the headlights are going to swivel based on the direction of your steering angle, better help illuminating what is around that bend, so you're less likely to hit a deer or a Sasquatch or whatever the case. That is pretty cool as well. But anyways, that pretty much rounds out the front end here. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. Alright, so but now since we are around to the side of this one, chrome upper window trim will come standard. Body colored or gloss black power adjustable side mirrors, dependent upon the configuration that you go with, of course. They will be heated for the select sport trim level and up. You're going to get integrated turn signals for the select sport trim level and up as well. And then memory settings for the preferred trim level and up. But let's go ahead and take a look at the wheel setup here. 16-inch alloys coming with that base trim level. However, all other trims are going to get 18-inch alloy wheels, in case you were curious about that. But again, that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. Alright, so now since we are around to the back of the Mazda 3 sedan, first thing I want to mention, because this is unlike most other vehicles on the road, there's no antenna anywhere. There's no shark fin antenna on the roof or anything like that. It is completely a clean look, kind of like Mercedes-Benz has been doing lately. They also have the clean look, so I'm a big fan of that. But anyways, if you wanted a gloss black rear spoiler, go with the Turbo Premium Plus trim level. LED taillights, though, will come standard for all trim levels across the board. You gotta love that. Got the turbo badging back there in the trunk. You guys can see that. Also, the all-wheel drive badging back there on the trunk. Gotta love that as well. Just below it all, one of my favorite looks, because so many manufacturers are not doing this now, you do have dual exhaust outlets with chrome tips. So most manufacturers are tucking those exhaust outlets away these days. So I love that Mazda has kept them exposed, and they look dang good back there. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now since we are around to the back of the Mazda 3 here, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, there is a button on the key fob. However, there is a hidden rubberized button on the bottom portion of that Mazda logo back there as well. That is another way to go ahead and open it up. That is pretty cool. And of course, there's a button by the driver's side left knee up here as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 13.2 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there are some levers in the cargo area. Just pull those and the rear seats do fold down. There is a 60-40 split. So that's going to give you quite a bit of extra space then if you needed it. There's cargo lighting back there. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find a spare tire, which you gotta love. So anyways, then making our way up to the rear legroom, that comes in at 35.1 inches. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the back seats there. Rear center armrest with cup holders will come on the select sport trim level and up. You gotta love that. No USB charging ports, however, and no rear ventilation. I don't think any of the compact cars in this class actually give you rear ventilation, so it's not really a big deal. But anyways, let's go ahead and make our way up to the front seats now. Cloth seating is going to come with that base trim level. Leatherette seating for the select sport and preferred trim level. Leather seating for the carbon edition trim level and up. And we got this nice leather suede combo here with us here today. I absolutely love it. I always have loved that combination, so huge fan of that. Power adjustable front seats for the preferred trim level and up. You're going to get memory settings for the preferred trim level and up as well. And then heated front seats for the preferred trim level and up. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, the comfort, it was okay. Not the very most comfortable seats, but they're not bad either. So I think it was perfectly fine. And like I said, I love the leather suede combo. That's just me. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is going to be leather wrapped for the select sport trim level and up. And then it's going to be heated for the Turbo Premium Plus trim level if you wanted that. 10-2 grips. I do wish they were a little bit thicker because this is kind of a small steering wheel, but that's one of those things with Mazda. That is just what they do, so it is what it is. But let's go ahead and make our way to the startup here. Let me start by showing you guys the key. You got your Mazda logo on the one side. All of your buttons are located on the side of the key. You got lock, unlock, and the button to pop the trunk, of course. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that black engine start button located just by the driver's right knee. And so once started up, when it comes to the gauge cluster, this actually looks pretty darn good. So it's a 7-inch LCD display front and center. Tachometer is going to be to your left, fuel information is to your right, but through that LCD display you can adjust what is actually displayed up there. There's an info button on the left hand side of the steering wheel. If you press that, it gives you things like average miles per gallon. Also gives you just a full digital readout with some safety features in there, or you can choose to display the kind of classic speedometer up there if you wanted to as well. Of course, it gives you outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, so I don't mind it. I do wish there was a little more color to it. I'm getting kind of tired of the black and white theme that literally every manufacturer has been doing lately. But other than that, gauge cluster is perfectly fine. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality, because this is where the Mazda 3 really gets good. So power moonroof is going to come in the preferred trim level and up. You got an overhead sunglass holder for select sport trim level and up. Dual zone climate control for select sport trim level and up as well, so both driver and passenger can set their own temperatures there. You're going to find a frameless rear view mirror with HomeLink controls for the Turbo Premium Plus. But I think my favorite part about this one that you don't see in any other compact cars in its class is you have this nice suede element found on the doors as well as just underneath the infotainment screen here on the dash with orange contrast stitching to match the seats. It's very rare that you see suede in a compact car. This is something that you see in Porsche or Audi or something like that, but you don't see it that much in a compact car. So I think it looks absolutely amazing. It's extremely high-end. So that is the best part for me, is all these suede finishes. But just in front of the shifter, you got a wireless phone charger up here. I liked that. You got your dual cup holders as well. Everything surrounding the shifter is finished in a gloss black, which I personally am a fan of. So I've had gloss black in my cars that have gone over 100,000 miles. I've never had a scratch on them. So I still get why people scratch them up so much. Maybe I'm just careful with my cars, but I don't know. I'm personally a fan of it. And then just behind all of that, you got a little bit of storage in there. Also a couple USB charging ports in there as well. So like I said, overall, when it comes to interior quality, it is absolutely amazing. Easily best in class just because of all the soft touch finishes, the contrast stitching, the suede finishes, gloss black finishes. I think it looks amazing for the price point at least. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen. So this is the interesting one because Mazda doesn't do touch screens. They do this circular dial and buttons located just behind the shifter. That's how you're going to control what is on there. So it's fine. It's something that you get used to, no doubt, but it's just different. So 8.8-inch infotainment screen for the non-turbo trim levels, and then a 10.25-inch infotainment screen for the turbo trims. You get Bluetooth and audio streaming either way. You get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay as well. You get wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay for the Carbon Edition trim level and up. You can check out your fuel economy up there if you wanted to. Also, your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, there are 3 of them, believe it or not. You get 6 speakers for the base, select, sport, and preferred trim levels. 8 speakers for the Carbon Edition and Carbon Turbo, so that's the one we have today, and then a 12-speaker Bose sound system for that Turbo Premium Plus. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio and let's test out our 8-speaker sound system that we have with us here today. I think it's probably going to be okay, quite honestly. This one doesn't come with Sirius XM. I didn't see Sirius XM on there at least, so that was FM radio, so it wasn't the clearest just because it's FM radio, so I couldn't really give it the full honest test, quite honestly, so I'll let you guys test that one out, but I'm sure it would be okay. 8 speakers in a vehicle the size of the Mazda 3 should be perfectly fine there. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen at least is when you do put this one in reverse, you will find an extremely high definition rear view camera, more so than most of the competition, I'll say that. So I absolutely love that, but that as always is going to lead us into safety. And so let me start with the best part. IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. It does not get any higher than that, so a heck of a start right there. Front side carrying airbags do come standard. You get driver and passenger knee airbags up front as well. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers to children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard. Lane departure warning, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, driver attention alert, and a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert then as well. That's nuts that comes standard, by the way. The competition usually doesn't give you that. So anyways, when it comes to my final thoughts of the Mazda 3 sedan, let me just start with excellent safety, since I just went over that. You can't beat an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. That's a really good start right there. But I think the driving dynamics, it's the best blend of driving dynamics compared to all the other competition. So all the other ones are good at one thing or another, whereas there's no sacrifices being made with the Mazda 3 sedan. It's just good at everything in terms of driving dynamics. So I'm definitely a big fan of that. You also have all-wheel drive availability. You can't always say that for the competition, so big fan of that as well. I think the 2 things I would change about this, because the interior quality is flawless as well. Let me add that to the plus side list here. Ambient lighting. I think that would take the interior quality up another notch, and I think that would look absolutely amazing in this thing, whether that be an option or just on some of the top trim levels, whatever they want to do. I think that would be freaking awesome. And also, the steering wheel grips, they're just not for me. I don't like the small little grips that this thing has, the 10-2 grips. I would probably swap that up. With Mazda being a Japanese brand, maybe they can have a partnership with Momo or something and just put some crazy fun steering wheel in here, because it is a fun car to drive. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the Mazda 3 sedan in the comments section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media somewhere on the screen if you wanted to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews, because that is what I've been doing on this channel for 11 years now. So do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video.